Sometimes we feel like marriage counselors for a lot of reasons. It seems like couples have a really hard time talking about money. More often than not, the couples we meet are pretty opposite each other when it comes to their priorities around money, what they want their money to do for them, etc. One is a spender and one is a saver. One buys on price, the other on quality. One likes to be fancy, the other likes to be practical. One likes to buy tchotchkes, the other is a minimalist. Sometimes it feels like it's impossible to talk about money. It always ends in fighting.
We've had some of those experiences.
What would a productive financial conversation look like? We're glad you asked.
Hey, and welcome to Wealth Wisdom Financial Podcast. We believe when conventional financial thinking doesn't get you where you need to go, you need wealth wisdom. So don't forget, hit that subscribe button, do the thumbs up thing, share a comment below, because we'd love to hear your marriage challenges.
No. This is not the place to vent about your marriage.
Oh, okay. Don't do that. Say your wife or your husband is amazing. In the comments below,
you can talk about your
amazing.
friends' marriages in the comments, maybe.
But anyway, we'd love to hear some marriage advice or thoughts, really. But this whole thing, though, is not about marriage counseling. Mm-mm. We're just going to maybe share some of our thoughts and how we've overcome certain things.
Being very different with money.
We've been married how many years now, Amanda?
Well, pop quiz, how many years? I know. Do you know?
We are in 16, going on 17 years. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Of being married.
Put up with this guy.
If you haven't been able to tell from our podcast, we couldn't be more different, including how we initially thought about money. I mean, we have very different mindsets, and we brought those mindsets and practices into our marriage. I don't know if you guys can relate, or girls. There's different ways of thinking, right?
Yeah, and also practically, I tracked all the dollars, pen and paper. Brandon never tracked anything. He just stayed way big picture, which we're going to talk about that. So we're going to share some examples of how we've had productive conversations about money with our marriage, things that have actually worked for us. But before we get to those practical examples, the big idea, the overarching theme is you really need to start with goals, dreams, visions, high-level conversation to make sure you can find a common vision for your lives, right?
Yeah.
There's probably a reason that you're married, not just because you love each other, but because you had a common vision for your future. You have things you love doing together, things like that. So start there. If you know our STILL method, STILL, the S in that acronym starts for set your sights. Focus on your common things. Make sure you get that down first. Then use whatever's left, your money, your time, their conversational energy, and give a little bit to each person of what they really want. And that's kind of the, if you get nothing else out of this conversation from our examples, having that common vision, that core idea of who you want to become, what you want your money to be doing for you. Yep. Focus there, get that done, and then give each person a little bit of what they want with what's left.
And if you've been married for 16 years or 2 months, or your early stage, right, even before then, doing these goals, setting your sights, is really, really important. And honestly, whenever I'm having the financial analysis with couples, usually I'm even saying, this is a good date night conversation. Here's the question, go do it. Is kind of what I feel like I should be saying.
Yeah, and it can be in dreamland. Like make a bucket list together. Have fun with it. There's no rules about like SMART goals or that kind of thing of what this needs to look like. It can look like whatever works for y'all. Okay?
Yep.
Deal? Okay. Now for the examples. So like I said earlier, I'm the tracker. Brandon likes to stay in the big picture. Yeah. So when we have a money conversation, which we have them very regularly, highly recommend it, doing it regularly, I prep beforehand. I update you need a budget for our budgeting software. I update that. And then I bring that to the higher level and I bring that to the conversation, share that higher level. And if Brandon has a question, wants to see the details behind it, we can look at those details on that particular thing. But if I brought all the details and he had to go line by line through the budget, we would not have a good conversation.
I would probably have fallen asleep or who knows what. But again, I like to stay high level, and as even a financial person, high level is good to be able to look at a P&L statement, look and see, are we profitable, or what needs to happen. I'm more of a visionary person, and that's good to know about myself. And I know that Amanda is an implementer. And so we're able to work that out together. And usually in a marriage, there's usually one or the other or somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, but I also get to have my big ideas and
Yeah.
make sure those get accomplished too.
Yeah.
Okay, the other thing, Brandon likes to spend. I hate shopping. The first time I went into a Costco, I got a migraine. That's how much I hate shopping. But Brandon wants to have money, that if he sees something he wants to buy, he doesn't want me to be telling him, we don't have the money for that. And
It's
that's not
annoying.
in the budget, those kind of things.
Yeah.
Especially when we first got married, it happened all the time. So we've developed and we've created a space to have just mad money.
Yep.
A little bit of money that can go into a part of our budget, our line items, and he can use it however he wants. I have a little bit there that I can save if I want to, and he doesn't get to tell me, well, but you need to spend it, it's your mad money. I get to save it if I want to.
Yep.
Whatever brings that person joy. And it could be $1 to start with, it could be $5, it could be $500. Whatever you have, right, you get to have that space.
Yeah, and sometimes it's also thinking about, like, as she's done some of the budgeting, I can see in my system, what's my mad money, what can I use it for, and in general, I can do it for pretty much anything. But really what gives me joy, and that's sometimes I don't spend because I know it's there, But in the meantime, I'm just kind of having that available if I want, right? And you're able to put it together for me.
A tip for you other savers out there who also love to be frugal and find like really amazing gifts on the cheap, and you have a spouse who always goes over budget on the Christmas.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Build the cushion, right?
Yeah.
Do the thing. I sometimes joke with him, if you spend extra on me, that's just a little less I'm going to spend on you. But really, I just build wiggle room into that line item. So
Yeah.
give some grace, I guess, is what that's for.
Yeah.
Which also brings me to the next thing. Brandon loves decor, and I'm more of a minimalist. I hate having too much stuff around. It's just, I love space and open and that kind of thing.
Which does lead into some kind of conflicts, and also looking at YouTube and saying, oh, look, you know what we need to do is have pictures on the wall, which we don't have, by the way, because Amanda is a minimalist, and these are the things that we're like, well, we need to prioritize decor, at least for our viewers, so then they can look at an awesome picture or books and things like that. But these are things that, as you guys see the background, some of that's me, maybe not the best, but it's building up. And you'll notice that maybe I'm winning in some ways in the future. You'll notice because I'm going to have pictures in the back of Amanda's office. We're in her office. I'll have pictures back here, and it's going to be of something that she really likes, and I think I do too, which is experiences and over stuff. So
this is where we found a common ground here is we love to go do things, have those experiences, take those trips, do the fun things. And then what I can give Brandon the space to do, because I want those experiences too, is he can buy some kind of decor, some kind of reminder that we can put within our visual world that reminds us of that experience, so we get to relive it over and over again. And so as we're thinking about, we have this new office, how do we decorate it? Rather than keeping it minimalist and you just see a blank wall behind us on our videos, we can bring some of those photos that we took when we were, at a really awesome place, put it on the wall, and then it reminds us of that experience each time, and we can relive that moment. And that just takes the experience beyond the moment that we were there and makes that moment last our lifetimes.
And you might be able to see that experience too in the future in these videos. So that's why you need to subscribe so you can watch the next videos here in the future that are going to have my work up here in our marriage conflicts, that you'll see where maybe it worked for us. And you can tell me if I won or if Amanda won.
No,
I don't know,
well,
whatever.
There might be couples out there that you feel like you have irreconcilable differences. That's a mouthful.
Say that 10 times fast.
Where you just can't find that middle ground. You can't find a way to combine your passions, to dream together. Brendan, what would you say to those folks?
Yeah, sometimes, figuring out who cares the most, right? So again, with some of this, Amanda's going to put these things up because I care about it more, which is kind of weird.
And it's not life or death for me.
Yeah. But again, I'm just thinking from a marketing side, right? And who cares the most? So that's really important. And sometimes we defer it, right? We don't have anything up yet because we've been deferring and waiting.
Continuing conversations about it.
Yeah, waiting until the right time. And here's the thing. If you don't find it important, you'll forget about it, right? And if these backgrounds don't change, it's probably because I forgot. You haven't, so you remind us. And maybe it's because, you thought it was really important at the time. You thought it was really, really important, and then you forgot, right? And that's what happens in a lot of relationships where it just is deferred for a while, so it's forgotten.
You have to be careful with that deferral. Sometimes we'll be fighting about, do we do X, Y, or Z with our money? And I'll just say, well, let's talk about that in the future. We need to move on, do something else right now. And Braden sometimes accuses me of, well, then I'm doing that so he'll just forget about it. And that's not what I'm often trying to do. It's actually because I want us to have the space and the time to find that creative option that we wouldn't have found before, or maybe life changes and we've realized we don't care about that, or there's this other thing that's more important, those kind of things.
Which leads to our last video about time, I think is really helpful.
But the most important thing here is that your personal mental health, your marriage is more important than your wealth. Let me say that again. Your mental health, your marriage is way more important than how much money you have in the bank or what kind of rate of return you're getting on the stock market.
Yep.
Never get distracted from that. And so if you have these irreconcilable differences, remind yourself of the thing that you have in common is that you love each other, you care about each other, you want each other to live happy, healthy, fulfilled lives. And how do you make that happen for each other?
Yep.
Even if it means you get a 2% rate of return instead of a 10%, or you're only able to save $50 a month instead of $500 a month. And then start to look at, okay, now that we have this joy, now that we're moving toward our personal mental health and benefit, now how do we start making our finances also work for us? Don't give up on that side.
Yeah.
Just keep the main thing, which is your marriage, your mental health. Wealth building is an adventure. You can do that together, but don't let that get as a wedge between you.
And you should, I think, do that together. It should be a team sport. And sometimes, here's the thing, a third party is super helpful. Sometimes, again, that's why we have marriage counselors. That's why we have small groups or things like that. It's about having a third party, having another person. And sometimes, literally, I feel like I am part marriage counselor when we're doing financial analysis, because I'm asking.
We're not.
We are not therapists or counselors. Don't seek therapy advice from me, especially.
But a third party is often super helpful within conversations. So if you need the counselor, the therapist, go do that. Super helpful. But if you're like, yeah, there's just one little tweak or this little thing that we can't figure out how to agree on, we want to be your allies. We want to step into that conversation, maybe ask a question that helps you think about it totally different than you had before, or comes up with an idea that you wouldn't have thought of. You know, you don't know what you don't know. You just something like that. So to get that, to have that third party, to have that ally, all you got to do is go to wealthwisdomfp.com and schedule a discovery call. 15 minutes, we'll answer your initial questions, give you our initial ideas, and talk about how we might work together from there.
Yeah, and doing this conversation together with you and your spouse, really, as I've done this, with our clients. A lot of times as I'm asking questions, I will tell or say to the person who's on the other end, hey, this is a really great marriage question that you should have on date night. So write this down. Here's a date night question. And hey, whatever they do with it is great. Hopefully they use it. But it's really for them to engage with, because ultimately I'm not in the marriage. I'm just hopefully helping them have a successful relationship. Whether it's a marriage or a business partnership or whatever, it's having that conversation, right?
Thanks for joining us. Go schedule that discovery call at wealthwisdomfp.com and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss the next episode, which is going to be really awesome. We're going to talk a lot about how you can make sure that you keep your wealth for you, doesn't get eaten up by others. May you live long and profit. The topics presented in this podcast are for general information only and not for the purposes of providing legal, accounting, or investment advice.
Or marriage advice.
On such matters, please consult a professional who knows your specific situation.
Or a marriage therapist.